I'm going to read a statement or a press conference statement by the members of Parliament from the west of Rift tea growing region on the 2025 tea bonus crisis. We, the elected members of Parliament from the west of Rift, rise today to address the deepening crisis affecting over 700,000 smallholder tea farmers in our region, a crisis rooted in the exploitation, mismanagement, and systemic failure within the Kenya Tea Development Agency holdings and Ktda Management Service. Our farmers, who form the backbone of Kenya tea economy, have been shortchanged yet again. Despite their relentless effort in producing the world-best tea, the 2025 second payment, popularly known as the bonus prices, released are the lowest in the recent history. We cannot remain silent as our people suffer economic despair while a few individuals enrich themselves through opaque systems. In Kenya, tea is the second foreign income earner. Last year alone, tea exports was worth 215 billion. That makes the 68% of national tea production is from west of Rift, while 32% is from east of Rift. However, tea prices from the west of Rift are dismal and worth concern. Ktda Management Service has failed to control rising cost of production, management, including inflated firewood procurement and staff expenses. Furthermore, there is the manipulation of weighing scales by some field clerks under pressure from the factory managers has worsened the problem. We demand immediate transfer of all factory managers who have served for more than 3 years in a specific factory to cap the entrenchment of corruption network, and that the sacking of all those found culpable of corruption within the factory setup. It is alleged that the clerks and ghost workers have so many kilos of tea without corresponding known tea garden acreage. Therefore, thorough investigation of the recruitment process and their lifestyle audit must be carried out, both on the factory top management and the clerks, to address this falsification of weighing scale scandal. We deeply concerned that the Ktda directors have prioritized personal gains over growers' interest through excessive board meeting and inflated allowances. Case in mind is that one of the factories directors have sat almost 155 sittings in a record of half a year, which is taking away so much money that is supposed to go to the pockets of the farmer. We call for review of Ktda board structures, including term limits, allowance caps, and mandatory performance evaluation, which some directors have failed in their audit or their duty to protect farmers from mismanagement, and the absence of the oversight has created room for exploitation and inefficiency to the farmers. All management agreements between Ktda Management Service and smallholder tea factories must be backed up by performance contracts with clear deliverables and penalties for non-performance. There is the issue of hydropower generation. Over 3 billion was deducted from the farmers over the last 7 years for hydropower projects intended to reduce factory electricity cost in the Ktda factories. Yet not a single hydropower project in the west of Rift, including the Stol Setet and Kipsonoin, which has not started, has been completed. The monies collected was used to complete hydropower projects only from the east of Rift. This is a common concern to the members that you've seen here, because we need to know and demand the criteria that was used in the allocation of the raised funds in the development and commissioning that led to the exclusion of the west of Rift factories. On 11th September this year, His Excellency the President officiated the release of 2.7 billion held by Kenya Deposit Insurance Company, KDIC, that was previously invested in the by the KTDA in the collapsed banks, the Chase Bank, which was liquidated, and the Imperial Bank, which was liquidated. The money was supposed to be refunded to farmers at factory level for the factory to get invested. However, to date, the money has not reached the affected factories. We ask that the disbursement be expedited to full public disclosure be done so that you can know from factory level which farmers benefited. Concerning the auction, we demand an introduction of blind testing or scientific testing at the auction to eliminate bias and guarantee fairness. We know that the current testing by mouth, sipping, does not guarantee fairness. A person who takes whiskey at night may be testing samples from factory A, and he may not be getting it right because of the taste of the whiskey that he took last night. A person who takes tobacco and tests tea may not get the exact taste because of the unfairness and biasness. So we demand that blind testing be done or scientific tea testing be done at the auction level to eliminate biasness and guarantee fairness. From the brokerage, we note that out of more than 13 brokerage firms serving Kenya's tea auction, only one originates from the west of Rift. Yet this region contributes to 68% of the national tea production. We demand fair representation in brokerage licensing to ensure equitable participation and regional inclusivity in tea marketing. We also demand immediate disbandment of tea trade association and a transparent exercise involving the farmers be put in place. Representation model at KTDA Holdings. Members here have noted that deliberate and design imbalance in the representation at KTDA Holdings and calls upon Tea Board of Kenya to address the said imbalance and come up with regulations that take cognizance of the volume of tea produced and the number of factory units between the east and west of Rift. It has also come to our attention that KTDA staffing structure is heavily skewed, creating imbalance and marginalization. It is equally regrettable that the west of Rift region has been systematically denied adequate representation in the decision-making structure at the KTDA and the national tea policy organs. We therefore call for an immediate review of the representation within the KTDA and related agencies to ensure that the west of Rift is fairly represented at the governance level, including the board of directors, management committees, and the regional advisory council. Concerning the separation of accounts, we demand an immediate separation of accounts for all the tea factories in the west of Rift. Each factory must be allowed to operate independently and transparently with individual audited statements of accounts accessible to the farmers. As for the loans that is borrowed by KTDA to pay some of the second payment, we call upon the directors to declare loans borrowed to pay second payment or bonuses so that to ensure that farmers are not burdened with debts they never benefited from or to those or they were not consulted when taking. As members of parliament representing the west of Rift region, tea growing region, we stand firmly with our farmers. We will table a motion in parliament seeking to establish an ad hoc committee to do an in-depth inquiry into the KTDA operations. We also call upon the House Business Committee to prioritize the tea amendment bill that is currently tabled for the second reading in the National Assembly. The time for accountability is now. And our tea farmers deserve money in their pockets. We will not rest until the sweat of our farmers translates into dignity and prosperity, not despair, as we are seeing currently is happening in the west of Rift. Thank you so much.